Or is that? Oh, I never
So good evening. We're back again. Another Rats podcast. All the rats are in the building. Fellow rats assemble. But we did have a victory last night. We actually won a game. We've been doing all right in the Europa League. We're going to speak a little bit about that, but we have got a massive game coming up at the weekend. And Tottenham, top of the table, Tottenham. Jesus Christ. I don't think I'd ever see that in my lifetime in the North London derby, that lot are top. But welcome back again, Zach.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me back on. Always a pleasure.
Always welcome, mate. Evening, Claude.
Evening, everyone. Good evening, Lee. Good evening, Kenny. Good evening, Mr. Kind Gooner. How are you all?
Very well, thank you, Claude.
And, good evening, Kenny. Hope you're well, man.
Well, I'm well. I just want to introduce myself. My name's Ken. I'm 48, and I didn't go to the match yesterday.
Mate,
I'm still in the ballot, though. But I'm still in the ballot.
Kenny,
I'm not going to.
You were there at Anfield in '89, though, weren't you?
I don't know, man. I was in the council estate in Finsbury Park. That's what I was doing. leaving my front door open, celebrating when we won, when Michael Thomas, scored the winner. I only realised after when I was running down the streets, I left the front door open. Bit risky in Finsbury Park, eh?
Yeah, just a bit. But yeah, apparently there was 500,000 people at the ground yesterday. All the proper Arsenal. They've told everyone all about it because it's all about them, because that's what they do. And they claim it's their second home. Well, they're clearly dumb, because their second home's their workplace. So it's probably their third home, isn't it? So there we go. Anyway, let's start with Zach. What did you make of the performance last night?
Do you know what? That's the kind of performance I expect in the Europa League, because we've got dynamic players in the team. Yeah, we've got youngsters with energy, youngsters who want to prove themselves. We've got something to prove. We haven't got the same old names playing, yeah. So I thought it was what I expected. I expected us to win comfortably. I did actually think there were a couple of things that really surprised me, actually. First of all, Ainsley Maitland-Niles starting in midfield. I've been calling him for that for 5 years now. I think he's a midfielder. He was never a fullback, right? He was only supposed to play right back when we got injuries for a couple of games, and then he was there forever. And all of a sudden, he was not a midfielder anymore. The geezer is a midfielder, and I guarantee you, if you played him in midfield, you'll see a real baller. I think Ainsley's brilliant. So that surprised me. Pablo Mari starting the game, that surprised me. I didn't think he was quite ready for that, but he looked relatively comfortable. But of course, playing against VIEIRA in the Europa League compared to Son Kane running at you is a different proposition altogether. And I don't, yeah, so I was quite surprised. The other thing that surprised me was, I'm not a big fan of Lacazette, but in the number 10 role yesterday, he looked pretty decent, scored a brilliant goal. But yeah, so overall, it was a good performance, and it was quite fluid. The thing for me, we've got all the ingredients to play that way. We've got all the ingredients to play that way in the league. The problem is we picked the wrong players, right? We don't want Bellerin in this team. Xhaka slows the game down so much. You know what I was telling yesterday? Look at the difference between having a mobile midfielder like Ainsley, who's got the energy to go box to box. Even if he gets into the box here, he can get back. He's got the legs. He's an athlete, right? Compare that to Granit Xhaka, who's just going to sit in our half and try and spray balls. That's not our game. We need that transition really quickly. So yesterday, I was actually pleasantly surprised on a few things. I thought it was enjoyable. I actually heard a stat yesterday saying that was the first time Mikel Arteta has had 11 shots on target since he started Arsenal. We've never had 11 shots on target.
That's mad.
That's mad, isn't it?
Who was your man of the match yesterday?
Probably Maitland-Niles or Lacazette. Lacazette pushed him close, but I think Maitland-Niles, and I'll tell you why he's my man of the match. Because you know how good this guy is as a footballer, right? You put him right back, he looks good. You put him right wing back, he looks good. You shift him to left wing back, he looks good. You put him in central midfield, he looks good. How many other players could you say that in our squad? I can't think of one player, apart from maybe Saka. Saka's the only other player in our squad that you can move around in 4 or 5 different positions and they don't look out of place. So for me, Maitland-Niles is man of the match.
No, mate, he was quality yesterday. Big up Expressions in the building. I'm still waiting for you, man. You're on this long thing, bruv. Where you at? Where you at, though? And big up to your brother as well. We just did a stream on Twitch. He's uploading that to YouTube as we speak, so it should be out in a bit. But no, I agree. Maitland-Niles looked good yesterday, man. The one thing I worry about Maitland-Niles is his passing. Yeah, like his work rate, you can't fault his work rate. It's always there. It doesn't matter where he plays. But in midfield, I feel you have to have a decent level of passing.
Nah, mate, trust me. Don't worry. Don't worry about his passing. He's got it in his locker. He needs to run of games in that midfield.
Yeah, but do you see him that's the point. Do you see him getting a run of games?
Well, that's the issue. And I guess my issue with yesterday, and I tell you what, even though we played really well, I felt a little bit indifferent to it. Like I wasn't cheering like I would normally would. And I tell you why it left me a bit cold, because I know for a fact when we look at that team sheet on Sunday, the game that matters is against Spurs, right? And there will be no Maitland-Niles in midfield. There will be no Reece Nelson on the right wing. Yeah, there probably won't even be a Lacazette at number 10. There'll be Bellerin, Holding, Willian, Xhaka. And that's why yesterday it left me a bit cold, because I was sitting there thinking, we've got all the answers right in front of us. And just the final point I'll make on it is the Balogun situation. We've qualified with 3 goals up, right? And he gives him 9 minutes, to prove his worth. That's not fair, because you know what Eddie Nketiah is about. Why not give Balogun half an hour and say, go on, mate, you scored in the last round, really happy with you. You've got half an hour tonight. Go and show me what you're about. What's the kid going to do in 9 minutes? I don't know what Arteta's playing at with Balogun. If you're trying to convince him to sign a contract, not going about it the right way. I think with Arteta, there's something sinister going. Look, people might laugh at me for this view. I've got the feeling there's something more sinister going on with Arteta, because you even have to look at his reaction to that Pepe. When Pepe went through on goal,
yeah, he started having a go, didn't he?
Yeah, Pepe was fucking bawling. He's bawled all season for him in the Europa League. He started shouting at him, and he looked at his assistant. He was like, "What the fuck was that?" Where's the same energy when Bellerin's on his arse every fucking game? Yeah?
Or
Where's
William.
the same energy? Or when Willian gives the ball away, or Xhaka gives the ball away. Nothing. He claps him. Bellerin fell on his arse against who was it the other day that just barged him out of the way? The Villa game.
Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish. Grealish just barged him out of the way, yeah? I bet Arteta was fucking clapping him for that. Clapping Bellerin. Come on, Bellerin. Come on, Hector. Come round for a cup of tea afterwards, yeah? I'm not having that. There's something more sinister about Mikel Arteta, and I don't like it. But I'm going off on a tangent, so...
No, listen, you're right. I didn't like that. I said that to Chig last night. I said, why is he having to go at Pepe? Didn't like that one bit, mate, especially when Pepe was playing on the wrong side and played well. I don't get it. But let me come on to the voice of reason. Good evening. What did you make of Reece Nelson last night, Claude? And should he start at the weekend?
I thought he played quite well, but I still like him to do more when he's got the ball. Drive at players, take players on, have the confidence, go past. You can do it, go past. Sometimes he holds back and he passes the ball, but he doesn't take players on enough. But I thought he played really well. I thought the team. I've got to be honest with you. When the team was announced, I was fuming because I thought this is a game where we nothing to win, nothing to lose. Really, it's a game where we could give at least a bit of experience to the likes of Balogun, Aziz, and Co. and Smith Rowe, and put them all in, and see how they can cope with moderate but not great opposition, but moderate opposition. See how they can cope. Yeah. When he didn't do that, I thought I was upset. I thought we've seen Lacazette, we've seen Nketiah. Why are we carrying on with that? And why we're playing Granit? Why we're playing these players? You know what I'm saying? And I think when Lacazette scored that wonder goal, and then Terry pulls me up saying, "See, he's giving him confidence for the next game." I said, "We didn't say it before the game." He said he's giving him confidence. It's a confidence booster. That's why he's playing him. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, what about all the other games, the European games before the league games? So were they confidence boosters? You know what I'm saying? Were they because we've lost every game after a European game and or drawn. So I wasn't convinced with that argument. But overall, I thought the team played good football, more quicker going forward, attacking wise. That little blip in the second half, at the start of the second half, where they conceded their goal wasn't very good. They would look like they were a bit still in the dressing room. Apart from that, yeah, okay. But then I think of myself, the opposition wasn't very good, was it? Really?
No.
It's my only thing about the game. The opposition was very poor, I think, and I think this Europa League is poor, and you can see even in the Champions League now, there's a lot of dead games next week, and I think I can see the reason now why they want this Super League in Europe. I can actually see it now because there's too many. You want to see the best teams in Europe, don't you? When in European competitions, and these teams, there's too many dead teams in this. Even in the Champions League at the moment, too many dead teams, and in the Europa League.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that are meaningless, and I mean, there's a few that are riding on qualification next week. I mean, Man United, PSG, or Real Madrid. Sorry, not Real Madrid or Leipzig. Sorry, are going to come down into the Europa League. Real Madrid could possibly come down to Europa League, but you're right. It's not the elite competition it once was, the Champions League, is it? And this Europa League, I mean, it's just a joke until they're not.
You can see why they're trying to get this Super League going, because they want the best teams in the European competitions, don't they? They want it to be competitive. I mean, who was it the other day? Krasnodar. All these teams, they're all poor, very poor teams. They're just to make the numbers up. They're just there to make the numbers up, aren't they?
Yeah, do you know what? Some of them are, but I get why they're there, because if you look at the game that Tottenham had last night, who would have thought Tottenham would have conceded 3 to that lot? And then Leicester lost as well to a team whose name I can't pronounce. So, you do get that makes them get better. They get a bit more money. They can then invest more, and then they get better for the next year. So I get it, but the competition's dead, mate, until it comes to the quarterfinal stage, isn't it? But let me come on to Kenny Ken from telling his kids off. Telling them to keep the noise down. Well, what were your thoughts on the game, and also Pablo Mari? What did you think to him last night?
You know what? It's typical Arsenal football. I say this with the greatest respect to us. We're flat track bullies. When we play teams that give us a lot of space and pay us a lot of respect, and we play really great football. We look unbeatable. The movement's fantastic. We have shots and goals. The goals are brilliant. Everyone's happy. Blah blah. And I think if you had a league where it was pressure-less football, then Arsenal win the league every year in that sort of respect. If you had it on that sort of discipline, no pressure. And I think we saw that a lot under Arsene Wenger. I saw it a few times under Unai Emery. And yesterday was a great example of that. So it was always going to be that kind of result because of the quality or lack of quality of the opposition. But, you've got to beat what's in front of you. But the thing about it, right, people say it's a morale booster because of what's happened with Wolves and the moral booster for the North London derby. The problem is, how many of those players are actually going to play on Sunday? It's not really giving us any information for Tottenham. All it was just probably one of those sort of pre-season tournament games that we play in where, you know, where people don't make a tackle, everyone looks great, blah, blah, and then a real test starts on you know, they'll say it on Sunday. In terms of Pablo Mari, yeah, he looked very good, blah, blah, more than happy. Problem we've got is that Arteta likes to play one left footer and one right footer. So the left footer plays on the left-hand side of centre half and the right footer plays on the right-hand side of centre half. So as well as Pablo Mari played, it's highly likely that he's going to be a deputy for Gabriel moving forward because, you know, Gabriel hasn't put a foot wrong. But in terms of, like, him coming back, I was really pleased with him. I was happy he got his goal. You know, he did a lot of things that I really liked. It's just a shame that, you know, that's going to be his best position. But as I said before, good play. Pepe played well, but then Pepe, this is I called the Europa League his playground. In terms of, like, he's going to get a lot of freedom. We're not playing great side, so we're dominating the ball. He's going to look good. So is Reece, blah, blah. As Claude says and as Zach says, very frustrated that in a game, which was basically a pre-season game, you know, players that we don't know about, didn't get starts like Balogun. We still don't know what he's going to look like in an Arsenal shirt in 90 minutes. And the same, we know what Smith Rowe's going to look like in an Arsenal shirt in 90 minutes, but that's the sort of game you want to play. But, you know, as I said, positives are Maitland Lyons. And out of that starting lineup, it's probably him who's got the greater chance of starting the football match on Sunday. Maybe Laka, but it's maybe
but
him.
But not in midfield. Not in midfield, though, Kenny.
Well, no, yeah, but we're not going to need him in midfield. We're going to. Actually, you've got to put. Actually, we may need him in midfield or right back because if we play him in midfield, then what we want to do, we want to pick up the run. That you know when Kane drops out of the front two. Then rather than get a defender come out of position and we're left with space for someone to run into, we can have Maitland-Niles to check that run in midfield as a sort of defensive midfielder. But if we look at the overloads on the right-hand side, our right-hand side, where, you know, you've got Reguilon and you've got Song running into them and sometimes Kane goes in there, Maitland-Niles for that specific game is a better bet than Beira. Yeah. So for me, he looks like the bigger candidate to play.
Yeah, I agree, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, which is sad.
I'll wager with you all that if he starts at left back.
Then it's a waste of position. It's a waste of position.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me come on to Chig. Chig, we did the game. We were lording up Lacazette's strike, bro. I was like that. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. And lack of threat, the French Benteke turned into the French Ronaldinho last night with that goal. But good performances, man. Obviously, we denied over our man of the match last night on player ratings. But just back on what these guys have said, how many of these do you think are actually going to start at the weekend?
Little to none. I think that's personally my biggest frustration with Mikel Arteta. I can forgive mistakes. Yeah. I can. I'm quite an open-minded guy. You guys will know this through my WhatsApp.
Reasonable.
I like people
very reasonable.
I like people that kind of try stuff, and they may be willing to fail, but they try stuff. They have their reasoning for doing certain stuff. That's why in a lot of times, if I had been in your group during the Emre era, I would have been hammering Emre because I could see the logic. At least every now and again, he'd try something different. And sure, it would often fail miserably, but he would try some certain stuff. Whereas with Mikel Arteta, he's the sort of person that would, big up Balogun for scoring a hat-trick and then leave him out the squad the next game.
Yeah.
He's just that type of... It would not surprise me. There's nothing for me that Balogun, for example, could have done yesterday that would have made Mikel Arteta for 1 second consider him for that squad.
Agreed.
1 second. He has his idea, and it's beyond stubbornness. It's kind of like, well, what's the point then? What is the point? If there is nothing that these guys can do to change your mind, then what is the point? Like, for example, we've seen Ainsley Maitland-Niles do what all of us deep down knew he could do, play well in midfield. to me, it weren't a huge surprise. You know, like, yeah, sure, he plays well in midfield because he's a good midfielder, right? Guarantee I'll be shocked if you see Ainsley Maitland-Niles anywhere near a midfield spot for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He just doesn't learn from those sort of things. And that, to me, is where I'm less forgiving of him being an inexperienced manager. It's just like, well, you're a human being, aren't you? Like, surely you can see what works and what doesn't.
Chick, do you know what? Do you know who Arteta really reminds me of? And maybe this is where he's learned his managerial traits from, is Arsene Wenger. Because Wenger used to do that same thing, man, and it used to piss me right off.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to say something controversial. Wenger would have changed it up by now. By now, Wenger would have changed it up.
Nah.
No, I agree, Chig. I 100%.
I think, yeah. Don't get me wrong, Wenger, you're right. Wenger was stubborn of stubborn. Don't get me wrong.
I'll give you an example, yeah? I'll give you an example.
But I'll tell you what, Wenger trusted the kids.
Oxlade-Chamberlain, right, is a complete mirror image to Maitland-Niles.
Yeah.
He was never given a chance in midfield under Wenger. It's the same attitude. It doesn't matter what Ox did when he came in, he was never given that chance. So
but
I think
do you not honestly believe that if Balogun has scored, that Wenger's not given him more than 9 minutes yesterday?
No, he would have started the game. And let's be real, he should have started the game.
I don't know if he would have started.
We've all watched
him more than 9 minutes.
Yeah, we've all watched Europa League teams under Wenger. That would have been a full set of kids out there last night.
True.
Yeah. A whole set of kids. We would have seen Smith Rowe. We would have seen Willock. We would have seen Balogun. We would have seen some of the others, Aziz. Yeah, they would have all been given a chance under Wenger.
You look at years ago which is similar, really. The Carling Cup and early rounds are similar, really. He used to play Fabregas at 16, didn't he, in the Carling Cup? All these players were playing at 16 to 18-year-olds, throwing them all in. So he would have really, he wouldn't that bothered with the.
That's true. He's so rigid in what he does. It's mad. Yeah,
it's like my man got punished for scoring last week.
Yeah. I had a thought yesterday, Jig. If Balogun had come on, say on 30 minutes to go, and banged in a hat trick, do you reckon he would have even been on the bench? Do you reckon he'd even be on the bench for Sunday?
No.
Honestly. No, I don't think he would.
That's what I said. There's no chance. No chance. He has his idea of who is playing on Sunday. And short of doing some sort of Jesus Christ miracle, there is no chance that team is changing. That's where I rate the man less, because that's not about inexperienced. Now that's just being hard-headed. If you're so unwilling to be flexible, then what's the point even playing these kids?
Exactly. But do you know what the funny thing is? Yeah, is he sits there banging on and doing interviews about I want to bring through the kids. Well, that was a perfect opportunity to see Aziz, see Balogun, see them all play Smith Rowe, Willock, put the whole lot of them together. We're through anyway. Yeah, but you know what? Somebody made a great point in the build-up to the watch-along last night, because I was angry when I see the team and I see Balogun on the bench. I was fuming, right? Somebody made a good point. Because of the run of form that we've had, he felt that we had to go out there and win, regardless, which is why Laka started, which is why Eddie started. Yeah, people can bang on about confidence boost all they like.
Lee, sorry to cut in that, mate. But you don't you think that another situation as well is, I think he just had the crowd there and he went, I think that game was more for the crowd. 2000,
maybe.
So they wanted for instance, they wanted to see a semblance of recognisable names, and unfortunately, players like Balogun were a casualty. But you got your Lacazette, blah blah. Yeah, he's a bit of a fan favourite. I'm sure I saw a lot of fans singing his name yesterday, which I found quite extraordinary, because they normally he's very much maligned. But the other thing that Chig said and Zach said about comparisons with Wenger and Mikel, it's the same thing I've been saying before, and Chris always gives me credit for this, and I'm going to repeat this time to the Chris. Never ever, unless the products you're like I said is selling, is successful, then what you should never do is get a player that's part of a regime that hasn't been working, and that's the problem. That's why I never wanted any ex-Arsenal players. Never. It's not personal. It's just that I want us to go in a new direction, and a modern direction, where a successful coach, experienced coach, is following a formula of no success. And I think Arsenal Football Club is capable of doing that. All this stuff about, getting Arteta in intelligent, blah, blah. So it's not working. Like today, Bellerin's defending him because he's under pressure. You've got a situation where Arteta's now saying he wants a clear out in January. Well, hang on here. You should have had that clear out a year ago.
Yeah. Exactly.
But this is what I find funny, right? All these players coming out to his rescue, like Bellerin. Well, Bellerin's not going to slag him off. He put him up in a house. Yeah, it's basically his dad. Yeah, let's be real. He's not going to come out and slag him off when he picks him every week, is he? Granit Xhaka is not going to come out and slag him off when he picks him every week. The ones that do come out and slag him off.
Granit Xhaka's now a problem now for Mikel, because what's
I
that? Mikel's discovered that his best partnership in midfield isn't Granit Xhaka, it's Partey and El Neni.
I agree.
So there's
hang on a minute, Kelly.
With Granit, because he's asked Granit to stay, only to realise, you know what? Everything that people said about Granit, i.e. lack of mobility, especially when teams are on the counter-attack, he's right. Granit's not my main, especially when we not dominate possession. So,
Kenny, let me call you out on something here, mate. You say
if we have a pound for every time we hear that word.
Let me call you out for something. You say that El Neni is part of the best partnership with Partey. What? Because of 2 games? Well, I don't get.
It's not okay. But that's the manager. But the fact of the matter is, the manager himself. It's not that. The manager feels the best partnership in midfield when everyone's fit at the moment isn't great. El Neni and Partey. It's there in the pudding. The proof's in the pudding.
Convinced. I'm not convinced he thinks like that right now, because you
can't.
can't.
At the moment he does, because because in the big game, the daddy game at Old Trafford, he didn't have.
Yeah, that was one game.
Or Xhaka in that team, and the next week
did El Neni start against Wolves?
I get what Kenny's saying. Kenny's basically saying in the big games. Yeah, the big game at Tottenham at the weekend. There's no way Granit Xhaka starts that game. No way.
so we're expecting El Neni to start next to Ceballos.
Partey could be fit, couldn't he? He's having a late test.
If Partey's fit, then it's Partey and El Neni
struggling
playing on Sunday.
But why would you? All right, maybe I take the point, Kenny. But for me, El Neni shouldn't even be in this equation. El
Neni shouldn't even be at the club. Let's be real.
Well, the thing about it is that for some reasons that there's always going to be players like El Neni who are always going to get games at big clubs because they're seen as players that do the job quietly. Remember, you had situations at Man United with players like John O'Shea. You know what I mean? After John O'Shea left Man United, he went to Sunderland, and he was relegated with Sunderland all the way down to the third tier of English football. But there are players like El Neni and John O'Shea who will get games at big clubs. We don't know why, but football's a funny old game, as Groovesy says.
Yes. Let me come to Zach. We obviously have this game on Sunday. Before I get your thoughts on how you think it's going to go, there is 700 people watching. 134 rats have liked it. So where's the rat army? Assemble, scurry to the like button. All of the guys who are on the panel right now, their links for their channels or their Twitter are in the description. I couldn't get them all in the title, so they're in the description right underneath the title. Literally, first line, you can't miss it. So go and subscribe to Claude, Chig, and go and follow Kenny and Zach on Twitter as well. But yeah, Zach, Sunday, obviously they're top of the league. We're miles away. We could potentially be 16th by the time we start that game if Palace and Brighton win. I've never seen Tottenham top when we've gone into a North London derby. You're the same age as me, so I can't imagine you have. But how do you think it's going to go? Do you think we're going to get something out of it? Are we going to turn up? Or is it just going to be a spanking and an embarrassment?
You know what, mate? Usually my response would be, I'll tell you when I see the starting lineup, right? That would usually be my default. I'm not going to say that because I know what that starting lineup's going to be. So I think we're going to get absolutely battered. Yeah, I genuinely, if it's the same team that started against Wolves, I reckon we're going to lose by 5. And I'm not kidding you, mate. If Bellerin's on that pitch, Willian's on that pitch, Xhaka and Holding, we're fucked. We're going to get battered, mate. It's going to be Old Trafford. It's going to be embarrassing because you imagine Son, and Kane, and these ballers, Mbele, all these geezers, they're going to destroy Bellerin, Willian, Holding. Bellerin's going to be on the floor. He's going to be on Tottenham High Road, He's going to be, I'm telling you now, I think there's two things here, mate. If we pick the normal team that he picks in the league, we lose by 5, in my opinion. If he integrates Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, maybe a Pablo Mari, we might have a chance of. And you've got to ask yourself, mate. Which lineup are we going to see on Sunday? Are we going to be sitting there?
Well, we know Bellerin's starting. That's a given. There's no way.
Then we've lost the game already.
Exactly. Son are killing, bruv. Son are killing.
Son will absolutely murder him. I'm not even. Do you know what? I feel sorry for the kid. Do you know I actually feel sorry for Bellerin, because it's not his fault that he's crap, is it? Like, he goes out on that pitch trying his best. He's not trying. He's trying his best, but he's just not a very good footballer.
Which is down to the manager constantly picking him.
Absolutely.
He ain't picking himself, is he? Do you know what I'm saying?
No. So I'm not. And and this is going to sound a bit weird, and people might judge me for this. But if we get battered on Sunday, I don't even think I'm going to feel the pain of it. Usually against Spurs, if you lose, you feel hurt, like proper in the stomach, in your heart, you feel pain.
I think we're pretty much. Well, I am. I'm expecting us to get pumped, mate. Real talk. Like,
will you even feel
the hammering? I'll be cool. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I
disagree with you, boys. I disagree.
Go on, Claude. Go on. Talk to us, Claude.
I'm going to go on the positive about Sunday, and I'll tell you the reason why. I think Spurs would be too overconfident, and they've been all week about this whole game, the fans and everything. And I've seen it before. When we lost to Leicester, everyone said, "Oh, we're going to get done at Old Trafford," and we pulled. It's the sort of game where every player will give every 100% on the pitch. They'll go out there, give 100%. They'll fight tooth and nail, right? And it'll be either. I wouldn't be surprised if we pull off a 1-1 draw or even snatch it. Because I think there are weaknesses in that Spurs team as well. They conceded 3 goals against Leicester yesterday. 3 goals against that team. I've never heard of them before, but
I thought they were a clothing brand.
But they conceded 3 goals, and they do without Toby. Was it Alderweireld? Well, I can't. Alderweireld.
Big time.
They are dodgy at the back. They are very, very dodgy at the back as well. I wouldn't be surprised because I think Mourinho won't play it too, and we'll. It could be very much like the Man United game with only one or 2 goals in it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's either 1-1 or we might even snatch it. And remember, this is North London derby, all this as well, because I remember when we were well superior to them. That they nearly beat us or they have beaten us, even when we've been superior to them. So these are funny games. You can't really say it's going to be an embarrassing defeat. But
Lord, I hear what you're saying, mate. Right, and I do get that. In a North London derby, anything can happen. But if you see that team sheet, and Hector Bellerin, Willian, Holding, and Xhaka are all on that starting lineup, that team sheet. I don't know where you can get any other thing than a Spurs victory. I genuinely don't.
The big thing is, I'm looking at Tottenham's lineup from last night. Yeah, out of their whole lineup, I'd imagine only 3 of them are going to start at the weekend, which would be Son and Ndombele and Højbjerg. The rest of them are starting. There's no way Davinson Sanchez and Tanganga start at the weekend. Ben Davies probably won't start. Doherty probably won't start. Gareth Bale definitely ain't starting. Lo Celso and Lucas Moura, they ain't starting. He'll have Bergwijn back in the team.
Our midfield is going to be key, though. That's the thing, isn't it? It's going to be key. We're going to have to find a midfield balance that's going to be able to match the hustle of Spurs' of Spurs.
But
As simple as that.
I agree with you, but what I feel with it's a sort of game where we'll just completely we'll play like we did at Old Trafford. We'll really be determined. That's a typical Arsenal. They'll do that all that, and then the next game they'll go back again.
Yeah, I'm actually with you, Claude. I don't see us getting.
I can't see us getting fracked.
I think that. Yeah, I think they're a better side. But I just feel like for whatever reason they will turn up to a degree where even if we just lose, for some reason I don't see us getting spanked. I see us putting up some sort of respectable, at least effort, and then going back to normal the week after.
Yeah, but also you've got to realise, if you think about it, Man United have got better team than us and better players, yeah? Yeah, look what we've done to them. We completely
Man United play better than us, and listen, let's be real. That game, if we didn't get a penalty in that game, we had one shot on target from 30.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but it's still we won the game, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, Claude, if we get 1-0 at White Hart Lane, trust me, I'll be buzzing. Yeah, 1-0 I'll be taking all day long.
I can see that sort of performance again. I can see that sort of performance
again. The difference is Tottenham are levels above Man United. Levels. Yeah, league position season I
agree, but then they've had games where they've looked really ordinary. They look at the game against Everton at home. Look at the game against what was it?
In the big club.
Burnley away when they play Burnley away. They look ordinary.
He always does. Always does. Look at them. They went to Old Trafford and slapped 6 past them against Chelsea. Against Chelsea, they should have won, and they had chances to win that game.
Yeah, but look at the Wolves game that we played. Right, we made the Wolves attackers all of a sudden look amazing. Right, even that 18, 19-year-old kid that came on for Jimenez, he was fucking balling, because our defenders are pathetic. Imagine what Harry Kane and Son are going to do to Bellerin and Holding if they're on the pitch. Honestly, I can't see anything other than a hiding. If they're
exactly. This is the thing. If we park the bus, which I expect us to do, you best believe they'll fucking hammer us. Yeah, our best form of defence is to have a go at them. Yeah, yes, we can get ripped apart, but if we sit back, like we did at Old Trafford, they'll fucking hammer us, mate. Because they're so much more better than Man United. So they've got better players up front than Man United. Yeah, they will take their chances.
Yep.
And that's how I don't know. Listen, maybe I've got it all wrong. Maybe we're going to go there and put in a great performance with that kickstart our season. I doubt it. What do you think, Kenny?
To be honest, right, I could see all the points. I could see where Claude is coming from in terms of like the fire of the North London derby, the fact that that there are certain players who played in that game where they've had some success against Tottenham. And scored, winners or equalising. Tottenham has scored there. I get that. The problem is that our best chance is if Spurs turn up with supreme overconfidence. If they start professionally, blah blah, then we are going to have a problem. But the problem with Arsenal is that we keep on making those sort of mistakes. When we play Tottenham, that second ball has got to be the most important thing. They're more powerful, physically powerful than us in midfield. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use that athleticism a lot. And as you guys have said, we've got to mix it up between not just trying to hit them on the counter attack, but being on the front foot as well. Because there's areas in Spurs defence where, especially down our right hand side, they're just as weak as us down our right hand side. I still think that Aurier is too adventurous of our part, and I still think that that Alvaro does have a mistake in him. I'm not convinced about Dyer as a centre half. I think he's better in midfield, and I think with Spurs, I think with Sissoko, he's more of a powerhouse. The player that worries me is Ndombele. He's the one who actually is becoming the brain of their side. But my biggest worry, right, is if we fall into that little trap of defenders following Harry Kane in areas where he's not going to hurt us, which leaves space for Reguilon and Song to run into. That's my biggest worry about in the midfield. I don't want Hector Bellerin at the right back. Nothing personal. I just know that he's going to get ripped apart because what will happen is he's going to play Hector Berry and Ralph Holding as right centre half or the right out of three, and we're going to get murdered. I'd rather have Mustafi there in the right hand.
But Kenny, you know Bellerin's going to be on that team.
Yeah, but you've got to hope that that
there's no
Arteta
hope,
thinks
mate.
the same as
There's
us.
no hope. There's no hope.
Because the thing is that if he plays Maitland-Niles as a right back, and he has even Mustafi, who actually his position is right centre back, and just playing him there, I think it'd be harder for Spurs to do those overloads down the right hand side. But with Bellerin and Holding, it's just easy street. But
that's the point.
And that's my biggest worry, because if he does play those two in that particular area, we've had it. We've had it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Kenny. He is going to play Bellerin. Bellerin is going to start that game. Fact. Maitland-Niles will go on the left back position or left wing back, and we'll go free at the back. Bellerin one side, Maitland the other.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest
worry. I know that. Conte knows that.
There's things I don't like. Kieran, I don't know why. What Kieran Tierney must be thinking. You know what? I play for Scotland as a sort of in a back three for necessity, because of I have Robertson.
Yeah.
At left wing back, but I come to Arsenal when I don't have like I said, Robertson. Andy Robertson at Arsenal. So why am I playing in a back three, and why am I playing my proper position? Because that's if we play Kieran Tierney left back, that's where we can hurt Spurs, where he can make those runs. Like I said, to push Aurier back, put those crosses in. But again, we have to get the right player on the left hand side of the forward line to be in that position to actually do it. And I think that player could be Reece Nelson, but again, he won't play.
He won't play, no.
So if you want me to be realistic, we're going to put up a good fight. But what will happen is that Spurs win 2-0 because it'll be two mistakes. It won't be good football.
That's a good question. Will we put up a good fight? Will we? Well, this is the thing. We don't know, do we? That's something you never used to be able to say about Arsenal. We would go and have a fight.
Yeah, but the trouble is that Arteta's teams is actually built for away games as opposed to at home. And I think if you look at our away performances, we've been more difficult to beat away from home than we would be at home. Albeit Liverpool worked us out and actually battered us.
Yeah, but Kenny, half of the games are at home. So if that's the case, on that basis alone, he should be sacked.
Oh, well, I think Lee, your cut-off period for Arteta's how do I say it, dismissal was Spurs
before he got the job,
Man City and Chelsea. So he's got a few weeks in the job. If we go by your cut-off period.
Yeah, I reckon we all after the Chelsea game. I reckon he'll be gone. The thing is, like, I just look at it and I think, like, we don't know what we're going to get. That's the problem with us. We don't know what we're going to see every week. Last night, I thought we were quality. Passment, movement, real high. Should you really, really, really use that game as a barometer for anything? No, of course. But
because if you look at the group we've got in the
that's how we should
league.
play every game. Why do we sit back in every game and let the teams come on to us? Why don't we go and impose our game?
Because our manager won't let us do it. Our manager.
The thing is, people can blame players who they like. People can blame Bellerin. Yeah, well, Bellerin ain't picking himself. People can blame Xhaka. He ain't picking himself. Yeah, the fact is, we see last night that we've got enough ballers in this team that we can put them in and around the rest of the ones that we think are good enough to play for this club.
Lee, another point that maybe I hope this point hasn't failed to go past Arteta's mind. If you look at the Hale End boys, right? Look at Ainsley, you look at Reece, Willock, they'll be well up for Sunday. They bleed Arsenal, yeah. Can you imagine the pride that they would have going into that North London derby if they start that game? They would give absolutely everything to win that game because they're Arsenal fans. They've grown up as Arsenal fans, yeah. And I think that's something that we've got to consider as well, because not only does Reece Nelson and Ainsley Maitland-Niles deserve to start on footballing ability alone, they've also got the added element that they're real, true Arsenal people. They're going to go out there and fight for the badge. You know,
Yeah.
I don't.
It's such a shame, guys, that our captain won't be doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because our captain, and that's the biggest elephant in any room, is that our captain has not shown any leadership whatsoever. Whenever the only time we've seen him at an interview is when we won a game at Old Trafford.
Mate, they sent Joe Willock out to do the fucking interview after the game the other day. I mean, that in itself shows how weak and minded these players are. The fact we've just been done by Wolves and we're sending the fucking kid out. Yeah,
but the thing is, when is there going to be? When is the issue and Aubameyang's form going to be a topic of discussion? Because right now, alongside our manager, because he is our team manager, he's not a head coach, our manager. They're getting a free ride, and I think what's happening is that people are forming orderly queues to throw stones at Bellerin, throw stones at Willian, throw stones at Lacazette. But the two people who we do look for in terms of leadership is your manager and your captain. And as far as I'm concerned, the captain's not shaking a leg.
He's not a captain.
I don't see that being any different.
Yeah, he's not a captain.
He's got no leadership qualities in him at all. He just scored a lot of goals before, right? And that's why he's given the captaincy. And he's not a captain. What's that, Jig? You're on mute.
He's the popular jock at the high school.
Yeah, but he's not even. Yeah.
Let's be real. That's what he is. That's what he is. He's the person that, you know, the ladies love and all the boys admire, and almost by
do you know what it
he's
is,
been given
right?
captains.
Do you remember in that international break? We had the last international break, and then he had that little tip on social media, yeah, with Tony Cruz. I thought to myself, this is Arsenal captains. What are you fucking doing? Fair enough, if you're banging in the goals left, right, and centre, maybe you can get away with it. Yeah? But what does Arsenal captaincy even mean for Aubameyang? If you asked Aubameyang, he'd probably go, I don't really give a shit. I don't even understand what it means to be captain. And I'll tell you why. We got no one in that dressing room of the Tony Adams ilk or whatever to say, look, this is what it means to play for this football club. There's nobody like that in the club anymore. We've got no leaders. The only leader I can see is Kieran Tierney. He's the only one. Yeah.
Well, you've just led me on perfectly to the last topic we'll speak about before we wrap this up and get some scores or predictions. But the captain's armband last night started off with Lacazette. Yeah, started off with Lacazette. Who actually, I've told you all before, as soon as you see a camera panning on him in the first minute, you know what kind of game he's dropping. I see his face, I said, oh, he's on it tonight. Yeah, it's mad. But he then went off the pitch and gave it to Mustafi for the second time. Mustafi has been captain in the last couple of games. Then Mustafi goes off and it went to fucking Pablo Mari. Claude, what did you make of this farce that is the captain's armband?
Yeah, well, it's happened. It all happened. It's gone. You can go well back on that thing. When Wenger gave it to Walcott after 10 years, you know.
At least for Walcott scored 100 goals for the club, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Someone rates Walcott.
Yeah. You know, Zach loves Walcott.
I'd take him over Willian any day of the week.
I didn't ask you that.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with it, but it's the modern day, isn't it? It's the modern day. It wouldn't have happened years ago. It wouldn't have happened a long time ago. It wouldn't have happened. But we're used to Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Frank McClintock. Them days are gone, I'm afraid. All them days are gone as having a captain like that. So what can you say?
Who would you make captain if it was down to you right now to pick a captain for our club? Who would you pick?
That's the problem. We haven't got any leaders.
Yes, you've got Tim.
Tierney maybe, but no real leaders. What leaders?
Yeah, but Claude, the thing about it is you talk about leaders, right? The thing that people seem to forget, and that's why I don't understand, is it's some sort of, because I was on a show last week and I was thinking, hang on here, we've got the captain of Switzerland in our team. We've got a Brazilian who's won the Champions League and played for his country in a World Cup semi-final. Let's not talk about how we ended against Germany. We've got real experience. And I thought we've got the captain of Gabon. So the problem is, two things I want to mention. The first thing I want to mention is is there a culture at Arsenal where basically easy street is the way? Raise your standards really low. That means if you meet your standards or just exceed them by just probably 1%, you'll get a good career at Arsenal. And I think that's the problem. The second problem with captaincy as well, I think the problem is that in England the captaincy is the alpha and omega. But the problem is in abroad, the biggest name gets the captaincy. Doesn't matter whether he's a leader or not. Like Lionel Messi, does he look like a captain to you? No. Does Cristiano Ronaldo look like a captain? But he still got the captaincy. Was David Beckham?
No, I think the difference with them two is they lead by example on the pitch.
Yeah, but maybe they lead by example. But I think what's happened is that in outside England, the person with the biggest name gets the captaincy. I don't know why he gets it. And I think what's happened we've had is that it's even crept out in England, like Harry Kane over Jordan Henderson, England captain. Bit strange. Or Alan Shearer.
Jordan Henderson's the Liverpool captain, and he's not the biggest name in their team.
Yeah, but even so, he's still a leader. And you know, when he's on the pitch, he influences things. But when you see England play, the person who's making all the noise is Jordan Henderson. It's not Harry Kane. But
it's not so much. No, Kenny, it's not so much about leaders. It's also about having more than one leader in the team. You know,
we don't. Yeah, but
if you look at Arsenal in the past, even when Vieira was captain, you had leaders all over the pitch. You had Lawrence.
This is not the same Arsenal though. The thing about that.
But that's what I'm trying to say, Kenny. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, mate. We haven't got any leadership at all at the club.
It's not a case of leadership. It's not called. It's worse than that. It's much worse than that. Because these guys are leaders in their field, in other leagues, abroad, for their countries. It's that there's a culture at Arsenal where standards
with Jack,
bare minimum, and that's about it. And that's why you can't have leaders in that environment. Because if everyone at Arsenal accepts these low standards as a barometer to just exist, then you can't have leaders. Because a leader is the sort of person who raises those standards. Over the mediocre.
You've just hit the nail on the head, mate. Nail on the head.
It's going to be fitting it at Arsenal. It's not happening.
I think this is where your boy Lee has to take some flack for that, because the minute that Emery came in and said, "Oh, you're captain, and you're captain, and you're captain, and you're captain," and basically rewarded half the team with captaincies, he completely devalued the
already devalued thing had got devalued even more,
which it was on its way to, but it completely devalued it. So from a fan's point of view, now we didn't give two shits. They clearly didn't give two shits because half the team were captains anyway.
That also shows you that he had no control on his dressing room because he didn't know who to make captain.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it was
how much control he had over the dressing room.
Yeah, but
Emery.
Is he the first coach to do that? Is he the first coach? Didn't Capello do that when he first got the English job?
He bought that
a captain audition.
I would suggest that he brought that to, for me, and I agree with you. I think it was already suffering anyway in terms of the captain culture. That helped to kill it for me.
Do you know what, Kenny? You just reminded me of something. This is completely off topic, but I was watching the Anton Ferdinand racism thing on BBC the other day. And Fabio Capello, right? I completely forgot this happened. He resigned as England manager because Terry was stripped of the captaincy for being racist. It's unbelievable, this guy, Fabio Capello, how he resigned because of that. Unbelievable.
I think that's the culture of how different countries in Europe take the issue of racism.
How
seriously they take the issue of racism.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially back then. Well, it was 2011, wasn't it? So,
let's not go down that road on that one because this country don't hold exactly not saints on that front.
Let's get some score predictions. Let's go with Zach. Score prediction.
I've got two predictions. I'm allowed to have two because
I'm allowed to. No, come on. None of this sitting on the fence.
No, it's exactly the opposite of sitting on the fence. If Arteta picks his starting lineup as he usually does, 5-0 Spurs, right? If he springs a surprise and plays Reece, Maitland-Niles, then I reckon we'll win 2-1.
Okay, what if he does that and still plays Xhaka and Bellerin?
No, we'll win 5-0.
Wow, okay. Fair enough. Claude?
I said it earlier. I think it'll either be 1-1 or we're going to snatch it 2-1. I think because I've just got that. I've got that feeling that we're gonna really put everything into this game because it's like a do or die game, and I think you're going to see so much effort and so much going into it that and. Also, I'm thinking Spurs also playing away on a Thursday. That might help us as well, believe it or not. So I'm going to go 1-1 or 2-1 to us.
So you've not got two predictions then, no? Like Zach.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
No, it's just
mate. We're two different
it's
teams.
It's a hard one, but I'll probably go for say 1-1 because I think maybe maybe 1-1. I'm going to go maybe 1-1.
Chig, I know you're going to do your preview. Yeah,
I won't say the score.
Yeah,
but I do think we'll do better than we all expect we'll do on here. But I still think that the Spurs quality will shine. Good, doesn't even sound right. The Spurs quality will shine through. I think they'll beat us in the end, just because we're that poor. But I do think we'll do better than we think we will. So yeah.
What about you, Kenny?
Arteta's job's on the line, guys. In terms of the players, this is my issue to the players. If you really, really believe in what that guy's doing, then you need to fight for that guy and give it. And you need to go and win that game. But the problem is why I think Spurs are going to win 2-0 is because we're going to make 2 errors and we're going to find Spurs very difficult to break down.
Yeah.
So I think the effort's going to be there, the endeavour's going to be there because it's a North London derby. But the quality, unfortunately, at its present time, isn't there to break them down. And so what happens is they have mistakes and the pressure that Spurs are going to exert physically is going to put us in trouble. There's always going to be one fool guy or 2 fool guys to do something silly. It could be a goalkeeper mistake, could be an idiot doing slipping over when he's received a hospital pass. It could be, someone getting roasted down one of the flanks. And you know what I mean? It could be that. But
or it just could be a Jose Mourinho out-schooling a pupil.
You're not allowed to say that, Lee. You're not allowed to say that.
I'm going to say it.
We won't be called rats if you said that. We'd be called rats worse than rats.
Yeah, mate, that's all right. All them little cockroaches, they can cry some more, bruv. Yeah.
Who remembers last year when Lacazette scored that absolute banger against Spurs?
Yeah.
And 2 minutes later, Kolasinac, absolute mug. Yeah. And that's Kenny's point, right? If we have 3 or 4 players like that on the pitch, I don't think Kolasinac will be on the pitch, but I think Bellerin, Xhaka, Willian will. If they make a mistake, it doesn't matter if we score 2. Spurs will end up scoring 4 or 5, and that's
the problem. That's the thing that worries me about Xhaka playing is that if you look at the mobility of their midfield, Højbjerg, Sissoko, and then Mbele, they're all like athletes, but powerful guys. I know Xhaka will do his best to meet him with the power, but in terms of the speed of movement,
they'll have him on
God.
It'll be like they're toying with him.
They beat him in every single department, Kenny.
Exactly.
When you think about it, in every single department.
What you've got to consider, Willian always plays well against them, doesn't he? He does play well.
Well, he owes us one. He owes us one on Sunday. Then he owes us one on Sunday.
Willian always plays well.
I'm taking it.
No, seriously, I'm trying not to swear here, but Willian, come on.
I don't think he will play because he's played the Sunday, the Thursday. I don't think he will play that game.
Who?
He only played 25 minutes last night, Claude.
I think he'll play, yeah.
He starts all day long, mate. Trust me. In Mikel Arteta's pea brain, he'll think
he loves him some Willian.
He'll think, do you know what? He's always scored against them. I'll put him in. He can be our Pires.
But I don't. Lee, I don't think Willian will play for those sort of attacking reasons. He'll play.
He'll probably put him up front, Kenny.
The system. What's that?
He'll probably start him up front.
You're right, Kenny. He'll play him in a system, in a winning system.
Mind you, if he played up front, he'll run more than a Banyang. Trust me.
He probably will.
How many times have we beaten a Jose team recently? Does anyone know? Have we got any stats on that? Does anyone know
we beat a Jose team in 2017 in 2-0 when Xhaka and
yes,
Welbeck scored, didn't it?
Yeah, they remember Twitter went mad that day because I think it was like one of our rare wins against Jose.
Yeah.
He's always had our number, and I don't expect that to change, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we've beaten once the Community Shield, but you're not. When you said the Community Shield is just a friendly, it's not a proper.
Yeah, it's a friendly charity match. It's not.
We never beat him when he was at Chelsea, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we did. We beat him with the Community Shield.
Yeah, it's not included. It's a charity game. It's a friendly.
Included, yeah.
He'll let you have the friendlies. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, mate, he'll have our pants down because he's a proper manager, somebody we should have hired. And on that bombshell, thanks very much to Zach. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Pleasure, guys.
And big up to Claude. Thank you, mate. Where are you streaming next? You're streaming again, didn't you?
7 o'clock. I've got.
He's got some superstars on.
Same old podcast.
I've got Danny Bear, entrepreneur, and I've got Anthony Costa from.
Are they Tottenham fans?
Blue. Yeah, Tottenham fans. Yeah. So it's Arsenal Tottenham preview. That's why, Kenny.
Well, at least they're proper. At least I've heard them before, and I know Anthony Costa. He knows someone. He knows crackers.
Yeah, good guy.
But there you go. Go check Claude's channel out. Claude's channel link's in the description as well, so go and check that out. Same as Chigs. Thank you again, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
What's
congratulations on your 10K.
Well done, Chig.
Well done, Chig.
Thank you.
Well done. And
when are you streaming next, Chig?
Chig, you should be on more, really.
Thank you.
You should be on more. You're worth more than 10,000, mate. You should be higher than. You should be much more than that.
Exactly. So all go and fucking subscribe right now.
Yeah.
And, Chig, when are you streaming next?
So I'll do my preview for. I'm trying to get a Spurs fan on. So I'll do my preview for Spurs Arsenal tomorrow, and then I'm going to do my boxing show later on tonight with Ola and Will, and trying to review some shows that have been on. So yeah, it'd be fun. 9:30 combat show.
There you go. Check it out. Thank you very much, Kenny Ken. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. Sorry about my daughter, but we've got a dog. We got a little puppy called Theo. Believe it or not.
Theo.
Yeah,
Theo. He ran around, and I tell him, I went berserk. I don't want him around. He never comes. I ask him, and so that's probably why we had disturbance. But also, just want to say, got some great sport. Got some cricket. Got a full match-through program today. We know that Billy Joe Saunders is going to beat Martin Murray, but tomorrow the big one, Lyndon Arthur is going to outpoint Anthony Yard.
Oh,
big talk.
Big cool. Okay, I can see that.
Lyndon Arthur is going to beat Anthony Yard. You know why? You know why, Chig? I'm going to tell you why. Because before everyone goes, I know Lee's got to go. Remember what they say in boxing. Muscles don't win fights.
True.
That's very true. Look at your boy last week. Get him put down. His eye was closed, bruv. What's his name?
Danny Dubois.
Eye was a disgrace, man.
Are you free later? Just come on the show.
I'm watching the matchroom thing, innit?
He's playing you out for his dog Theo. Look at
him out.
I want to talk to you about all these fights. All right, cool.
All right, listen. Thank you very much. I'm very close to 50k. So if you could hurry up.
Chick, are you doing one for Joshua next week?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
What time?
9:30, usual time.
Well, you know full well that I'll be very upset if you don't invite me on it.
Yeah, of course.
You've just been invited.
Been invited.
No, next one. Next week.
Yeah, you've just been invited.
Yeah, been invited.
For next week?
Yeah.
Good.
No boxing talk.
You're not a joke.
Yeah, no boxing talk.
You lot are jokes. Yeah, they're only allowed to talk about other sports on here. Yeah.
Zach's like, no.
Oh, yeah, I forgot this was Lee's channel. So.
Yeah, and before we go, I just want to say Axel is an absolute letdown. Yeah, hasn't even bothered to reply to any of us in the group.
The rats.
Yeah, so he's banned from the next podcast.
The absolute rat.
No, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, and I'm going to be recording with expressions in about an hour. I'll be uploading that about 9 o'clock.
Say hello to him. Say hello
Yeah,
to
man.
him. Tell him to behave himself.
Mate, I'm just going to have to sit here and take a beating while we're talking. You know, I can't. But
Anyway, I've got to get my little bit of cheese now. See you later, boys.
yeah, nice one, mate. I'm going to see you later. Later, peeps. Smash the likes up before we go. There's only 233. That's a disgrace. Smack the like button. Laters.